Welcome to the Spike Camp podcast. Spike Camp is a free online community for hunters that support conservation. It's a great place to share stories and your experience with other hunters. As a member of Spike Camp, you get access to all of our hunting live streams, discussion channels, contests, hunter resources, and events that we host. Membership to Spike Camp is free. Our only ask is that you are a member of a hunting or conservation group before you register. Head over to spikecamp.com to join us. This episode of the Spike Camp podcast is brought to you in part by Precision Optics. Omer and his team are the ones to trust when it comes to mountain hunting gear, guns, and optics. Precision Optics is a major supporter of conservation, and we are proud to partner with them. Head over to precisionoptics.net and tell them that Spike Camp sent you.
How you doing?
Good. How are you? Can you hear me good with this mic?
Yeah, it sounds good. Wow, that's fancy. Holy cow, you're going pro?
Back in my podcast days, I guess, hey?
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah. How you been?
Oh, it's been busy, man. It's like trying to balance life and work and then trying to hunt my ass off. It's just been crazy. And then just trying to get time to do these things has been the challenge, lining up schedules and stuff. But yeah, it's been a while since we've chatted, my friend.
Yeah. 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 Same.
Yeah.
Kids
super
hockey.
busy.
My boys are in hockey, and my daughter does horse stuff, and I'm trying to hunt full time and work full time, and not a whole bunch of time left. Hey, just sleep and get up, do it again.
Get after it. Yeah, exactly. What's the weather like up there now? You getting any snow?
And it sucks, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, I really
Warm.
pray for cold weather right now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just been like the other day was plus 18, right? So we have had snow, and then that melts and turns to mud, and it's just been kind of shitty.
Gross.
But last night and tonight, -7, -8. So finally getting some cold. It's nice. We need it. Make some deer, pushes them does out and gets them moving, right? So
Yeah, gets them fired up for sure. Yeah, we've had kind of a weird fall here too. Like we had a little bit of a cold snap, couple cold snaps, and when I say cold, I'm like -2, 3, 4. Like nothing really cold, but a little bit of frost, and then same thing, wet, and then rain, and then just mud everywhere. It's just gross. And it's I don't know. It's hard to know what's happening. I was talking to my buddies in Saskatchewan, and same thing. Like we're in southern Saskatchewan where we're going to hunt. I've got a whitetail tag this year. It took 12 years to get it, but we'll unpack that in a bit. But they were saying, yeah, it's just so warm, like nothing's happening. And out there, it's kind of spot and stock for whitetail down in the south because it's not a lot of timber, right? So the deer just stay tucked up, and then once a cold snap hits, then they just light up. But we'll see what happens. So, all right. Well, we got a few folks on. So what I'm going to do is I'll just pause for a sec. I'll do a little intro, and then we'll dive in. Does that sound all right?
Yeah, far away, Chuck.
All right. All right. Welcome to tonight's camp chat. I just want to remind everybody about the giveaway that we're running in conjunction with the Women Hunt community. We brought them on last month. They're part of the Wild Sheep Foundation. And to celebrate that, they've generously donated 2 really cool prizes for us to give away. So there's 2 contests. One is it's like a membership rewards contest that we run for engagement. So you'll generate points if you engage in the women hunt space. So write a story, just stay involved, get involved on that space, and you'll generate points. And at the end of the month, we're going to pick a winner for a Kafaru backpack system. And if you submit a story about a female in hunting, you can win a Weatherby rifle chambered in 7mm PRC. And that one will be voted on by the Women Hunt team. So they'll pick the stories out of the space and decide who the winner is. So you can find the details, basically where you find details about the member rewards program. So the leaderboard and all that's been updated. Blake's back from his deer hunt last week. So anyway, tonight's show, we are catching up with Wacey. It's been a long time, dude. I think the last time we talked was before sheep season, right?
Yeah, before anything had started, but
yeah, exactly.
Busy, but just busy hunting. It's hard. It's hard to get these done, but
yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, we're in the home stretch now here, so.
Yeah, exactly. So how many sheep hunts did you end up doing this year?
I did 2 sheep hunts this year. They were both pretty good. Yeah, didn't kill anything, but yeah, the first one was in some new country I wanted to get into. I went with a buddy, and our plans kind of got shifted. We were planning on crossing a river, but we didn't know what the river was like, and we got turned back. But we had a backup spot we went to and checked a few things out, and it's good country, so I definitely want to get back in there if I can. But yeah.
So that wasn't the horseback one, no, that was boot leather, right? That trip?
Oh yeah, a lot of miles we did, yeah. But the second one I did, which is the spot I usually go into with my dad, and I went in there, and my old man just basically, he drops me off and in spots I want to go, and I just hike up, do solo, kind of 2-3 days, and then I hike back to base camp and get picked up or whatever, and then go back out again. So yeah, it was good. Seen some young rams. Seen one ram that was legal, but he was younger, probably about 5, maybe 6. So I elected to pass. I don't really.
So what?
Didn't really want to shoot that.
Forgive me, because I don't know your rules, your regs all that well. What's legal in Alberta?
3/4 girl. So
3/4. Okay.
Yeah. So just breaking past the eye is what they say.
Okay.
So you get young. So yeah, Alberta sheep hunting. That's a whole podcast. But yeah, that's what it is.
Did you run into other hunters out there on that trip?
On that trip, I probably did, but kind of where I hiked in was fairly quiet. I think, Chuck, it was people in that country. It's horseback, and everybody uses the horses like a lot, right? So. Not a lot. There's some guys I run into some guys that were actually hiking in. It takes us like freaking 4 hours on a horse to get to where we base camp. So them guys were hiking to there, and then they were going to sheep hunt out of there. So that it's a long ways in. But for the most part, I don't run into too many hikers. A lot of guys on horses. So, but you can get away from it kind of pretty easy. So just by walking.
Yeah. Yeah, that's industrious if it's 4 hours just to get to it on horseback. I mean, on boots, that's a lot. Did you have rivers and shit to cross too on that one? I'm not going to ask you where you were, but
yeah, we crossed the same river probably, my God, I don't know, 10 times.
Yeah,
and it's like it's deep. I'm lifting my feet up on a horse, so it's deep, right? So
yeah, oh shit,
yeah.
Be challenging on boots
guys
to
want
get through that. Yeah.
Yeah, they were young guys, and they just want it, right? So they push hard.
Yeah. Old guys want it, they just want it differently. So
I'm starting to fall in that category too. I want it, but I also try to save my legs for actual hunting if I can. But
yeah.
No, it was good. It was good. It was I do a bit. I need to do more, but it just doesn't seem to kick my ass. Like some guys who really get nuked on sheep hunts, I seem to do okay. Like I just chug along, man. I have the same gear going up or down or what. Got good boots, and so yeah.
Yeah, I mean this year. So I turned 57 in September, and for the last 2 years, I've trained harder than I ever have in the off season, and I've gotten into a routine. I mean, I'm like, don't get me wrong. This is not Greg McHale you're talking to. This is just an older guy that's trying to keep up with a younger guy. But what I've noticed just in the last year and a half, just by getting in a routine, and routine, I mean sleep pattern, diet. I changed my diet a little bit this year, went more carnivore, and that's really helped. But just the routine of good sleep and then working out whenever I'm home because of my work travel, it's really hard. Everybody says, oh, you can just do hotel room, exercise and all this shit, but you don't. When you travel for work, you don't. Life is just different when you're on the road. But I found this year, not just the ability to keep up was better, but just injury prevention, like the little injuries, like, oh, my knee hurts or my back hurts or I rolled my ankle. I think in general, I was just stronger this year and I felt better. And, just I didn't really have any issues this year. And I'm kind of building on that because it's like, I don't know how many more years I've got until like, no matter what I do, it's just going to hurt. And you're not getting younger, right? So, I still want it bad. So still trying hard, but yeah, training's an interesting animal.
I can tell you what's probably going to get me before old age is my knees. I think my knees are going to give up on me before. I got bad knees, and I think they're going to quit me long before I'm going to be not able to hike up a mountain. So that's kind of what I'm worried about. But hey, maybe I see some guys can do different things, right? Get injections and stuff. So see.
Yeah,
we'll see. Hopefully not.
One of our buddies took his dad on a trip this year on a sheep hunt, and he was 72, and I think he had one knee replacement done a couple years ago, and I think he might have gotten two. I could be wrong on that, but I mean, they went in some pretty serious mountains in BC and hiked way in the backcountry, killed a ram together, and came out. So, it's doable. Talk about want it. You get that. Get to that point in life where you're just old man, tough and stubborn. That's what Blake always says. Like, there's the stubborn side of things, right? So, right on. Oh,
so I got
one thing
my new sheep hunt. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, you fire away, buddy.
I was just gonna say my new sheep hunting partner. He's young. He's like, well, I think he might be 30, and he's a guide for sheep. And
that helps.
He's a fucking animal. Like, it was unreal. Like, I've hunted with some guys and really good hunters and really in shape guys, and Connor's is next level, man. That guy, he was kind of, how kind of like, I'm older than, and I wasn't like falling behind, but I was always kind of behind him, right? So he was kind of always picking away, and yeah, man, some of the shit he was going up, I was like, man, I want to be young again. So
yeah, some guys are just born mountain goats too, right? And you get hunting with them. And I had a couple young guys on a sheep hunt early on in my sheep hunting mission, and the one guy was typical just go hard kind of guy. He's young. He was 6'3" probably, bone rack, super long legs, with an 80-pound pack. The guy is like a mile ahead of us all the time. But he was one of those guys that didn't wait for you. So like if you're the trailing guy in that situation, it's misery because you just feel like, all right, it already sucks. I can't keep up with the guy. And, then the second part of that is you feel like you're letting them down or the other guy down because you can't keep up. But then, you get up to the top of the mountain, and where is he? Well, he's another mountain over here. And I'm like, oh man, you're killing me, dude. But
it's like
it's interesting.
Ed's got that build for like climbing mountains.
He
like
does.
That long inseam, freaking. He's not a bag of bones, but like he's just built for hiking mountains. It's like those types of guys.
He's a $150.
Just like
he's a $150 soaking wet. Yeah.
And that guy could do 3 mountain ranges in a day, probably. Like he's just
I'm gonna get him on for a podcast because we did it. He took me on a goat hunt, right? My first goat hunt. And we got my Billy, and there's so much to unpack with hunting with Ed. It was so much fun. He, first of all, like the one thing I noticed right away with him is, he's just happy to be there. He goes 100 yards and stops, and then he's just smiling because he's in the mountains and he's happy. And then he lights a cigarette.
Yeah.
Has a couple bites off the cigarette, and then he fucking loses you up the mountain. And it's like, and you catch up to him, and he's not breathing hard. We're like, dude, it's embarrassing for me, man. But
his daughter, I don't know how old she is. She must be 10 or 12 or something.
12, I think. 11,
She'd out hike. Yeah, she'd totally out hike me in any sheep country or goat country. She's just like her dad. He takes her and they just hike up to the top of a mountain like it's no big deal, eh? So.
Yeah, I shared a camp with his whole family for like 5 days when we were goat hunting, and I mean, it was just a pleasure, top to bottom, front to back. There's just class act. So, and we're planning some more hunts, him and I, for next year. So we had a really good time. And I mean, you want to learn how to mountain goat hunt, that's the guy to go with. Like, it was like, it was literally like mountain goat 101 for me. And yeah, it was fun. The pack up was interesting. It wasn't super long, but we really rugged terrain. It was wet, like it had rained all week, and we had to side hill through a canyon with an old creek bed running through the bottom, and side hilling through the timber, and it had all this ground birch, which is like willows that are laying down on the ground. You can't walk on that stuff. Like, you step on it, it's like somebody laid 100 pool cues together on the side of the mountain, and you got to kind of traverse over top of them, right? And then they're soaking wet. And I mean, just the little things, like Ed had, proper mountain boots, like expedition style Scarpas, so he had a completely different set of footwear. I was running traditional hiking boots, and I don't know, I probably fell on the way out, I don't know, 50 times coming down the mountain. And one point we're going down a dry creek bed in the dark, packs loaded, and I stepped on a rock and my feet went out from underneath me, and I came crashing down and landed on my tailbone on the rock. And I'm sure I cracked the tailbone, because it was over a month of recovery of like noticing that. But I was so happy with the goat on my back, I really didn't care. I just kept going. But yeah, he's the perfect example of a mountain guy, man, for sure. Like, can't keep up.
So I got the best training technique for training for a mountain goat hunt is you want to stand in one spot and have somebody kick you in the nuts for 5 days straight, and then you'll be ready to go on a mountain goat hunt.
Yeah, that's actually pretty close. Yeah, pretty close.
Yeah.
And then the crazy part is you probably liked it and want to do it again, right?
Yeah, I want to go back. I want to do a goat hunt with a bow, with a recurve. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I bet. I'm not an archery guy, but yeah, it would be fun. But yeah, we had our window. We're gonna do I'm gonna get him on. We're gonna do a whole podcast on our goat experience. But it was interesting. We see goats all the time on our sheep hunts, and then up until now, I hadn't paid much attention to them because normally the season's not open in the areas that we've been hunting. It was a couple times when we were in Region 6, but we were hyper focused on sheep. And but now I've got a whole different perspective on goats. And yeah, it is addicting. He warned me. He said up front, he goes, "You're going to be addicted to this shit when you're done." And yeah, he was dead right. It's so much fun. And it's very different than sheep hunting. Like,
yeah, I would totally, honest to God, I would rather hunt goats than sheep.
Yeah.
And like I hunt sheep, I want to get a couple sheep, but if I had to take a pick, I'd hunt goats over sheep, hands down.
Yeah.
I really like goat hunting. I think it's really fun.
Yeah, it's got it's a different set of challenges. And then the animals themselves are just so cool. Like, yeah, it is a very fun species to hunt for sure. So anyway, oh, I forgot a little housekeeping here. So I did a solo live stream a week ago with Jordan talking mule deer, and I promised that we would give away a couple little things. So Blake did a little draw based on the folks that were on the live stream last week. So I'm going to give Devin Stewart is going to get a 5-pack of This Is Coffee. So I'll reach out to you and get your shipping address, and then Gian, I'm going to butcher your last name, but it's Klages. So is it Klages, Gian Klages or Clags? We're going to give you a Spike Camp t-shirt and a hat. So I'll be reaching out to you. Anyway, I had to get that out of the way. So Wacey, I want to talk. Well, first of all, you shot a moose too. I want to hear about that. Tell me a little bit about your hunting season. So you did sheep hunting and then the moose. I know it was sheep, interesting.
Yeah, it's I love hunting moose. It's like you know, if I could hunt, like I like hunt whitetails is my thing, but I love hunting moose with a bow way more than elk. I hunted elk for 20 plus years in the rut, and I love moose hunting. So, and I love hunting moose with a recurve. It's my favorite thing. So yeah, just we have a general archery season here, and yeah, I go out, I got spots, I run cams and swamps, and basically I try to find bulls. And this guy here, this bull here, I never had gotten any pictures of him, but it's not uncommon. Bulls come in and out of areas and stuff and whatever, you know how it is. But yeah, man, it's not a real crazy story. Like I got to a spot. There's this swamp. There's this swamp. It's just about like, I don't know. It's got to be 2,000 plus acres of just muskeg. But in right smack dab in the middle of it, there's like a field, basically, and it's high ground. And the moose rut there. I found the spot, and nobody goes in it, and so there's bulls everywhere. So I kind of leave it alone the closer I can get to the end of the archery season, and then I'll go in and I'll call. So that's what I did. I went in, and I knew you're gonna, in a spot like that, you're gonna call bulls in for sure, right? So I did some calling. It was kind of windy, and I got just a moose horn, so I'm blasting. And I'm half deaf anymore, but you can hear bulls grunting. I thought I heard a bull. He gave me 3 or 4 grunts, and so I stayed quiet. I just wanted him to hunt me a little bit and not give up too much of where I was. And then I could hear him definitely, if 100% it's a bull coming. He was giving it to me, and I'd give him a bull grunt and he wouldn't answer, so I just went back to I give him a little bit of a cow, and then I ran to another spot about 50 yards away, and I set up on this tree line, and he come in, and he turned down this tree line. He was walking straight towards me, and they switch real easy. Like if you're cow calling them, they're coming in looking for love. But if you switch, so kind of how I do it with moose, because when you're calling solo like that, they're gonna come straight on generally. Like they're really good at pinpointing. Same as elk. They know where the calling's going. When he got about 10 feet from me or so, and I hit him with a bull grunt. And this is pretty sketchy to do, especially where I was. I didn't have any big trees to hide behind, so I hit him with a bull grunt, and and it gets him to square up. So he's coming head on to me, and I bull grunted him, and he just pinned his ears back, and he just started knocking his head around, and I had shot him at like, I don't know, 10 yards or something with the recurve.
So he got to within 10 feet of you, like feet to start with.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And like, I don't get shook anymore, really. Like, when I was young, you just get, when you're really tight on animals, you get really, yeah. And I hadn't got that in a long time. It's been years, and he when I shot him, and I was like, whew, that one was intense because it goes one or two ways with them bulls, especially them old bulls. Like when you hit them with a grunt and they square up, they're either gonna fight you or they're gonna, you gotta make your decision what you're gonna do. So it gets a little bit, it gets a little bit sketchy, but. And then I had to deal with it solo, which fucking sucks. I gotta stop solo hunting moose because it damn near kills me. And I just I'm getting too old, man, and to be packing hinds by myself anymore. I can't fucking hardly do it. So
it's massive. It's horrible. By yourself. You couldn't get help, like you couldn't get kids to come and stuff, or they just
it's dark, muskeg, grizzly country, just fucking bad scenario for myself solo. But I'm actually, so right now, I don't want to go down too much of a rabbit hole, but I'm trying to design a tripod that it will extend and has big wide feet that I can just keep in my truck, something light made out of aluminum for handling the hinds, so like I can just get a rope and tackle, and when I'm solo I can kind of, so it holds a hind quarter for me, right? Because I can't, it's so hard for me anymore, man. I can't do her, so I'm trying to come up with a better system for solo hunting moose. So
oh man,
that's it, man.
Back to that.
It's not a real it's not a real crazy story, but it's exciting when you're there, right? So
well, when you think about it, at 10 yards, and obviously you're exposed a little bit because you got to stand out to take your shot. I mean, you're driving a stick and a piece of metal through the side of a moose's chest. He's either going to turn left or right, or run right over you, or run and drop dead. And I mean, they move so fast that no doubt that's going to get the adrenaline surge. Wow. That's crazy, man.
And I'm usually really aware of my surroundings because I think that's the 5th bull I've killed with a recurve or a longbow, and I've killed a bunch with compounds and rifles. But so I know what I'm doing. But if you're not, when you're in just like real scrubby brush like that, and he decides he wants to kill you, which is real common for moose, like they're no joke, man. They're nothing to play with. He'll fucking run you over and he'll kill you.
Yeah.
So I knew it's sketchy, right? Like I don't really like being in that kind of terrain. I like being in a little heavier timber, right? Maybe give it a little bit of a chance to get away, but it worked out this time. So hopefully, I gotta get a hunting partner for moose hunting. So
well, you probably got a few volunteers right here after you tell that story. There's some hands popping up here. So, oh my God.
Yeah.
I can imagine trying to, Ryan just asked the question I was going to say, if it's like muskeg, it must be insane trying to carry and hike. Like it's hard enough to walk in that shit. And then you throw another 150 pounds on your back. Oh my God.
At some points I was crawling on your fucking hands and knees with them hinds. Yeah. The end. It's not advised. It takes me like when I did a moose. I killed a bull in 2019. I killed that bull even closer. I killed that bull with a recurve. Actually, a bow. There was a boy here in Alberta. He died here a few years ago now, but his name was Jack Kemp, and he made beautiful recurves. And before he died, I killed this bull with about, I don't know, an arrow's length, and that one was even sketchier. And then I packed that bull out of a muskeg patch, and I said, I'm like, I'll never kill another one in muskeg. And I had 2 buddies with me on that one that were packing quarters, and that one almost did me in. So yeah,
but you did it again.
No good. Yeah, I fucking have a sucker with the big racks come in, and they're just swaying. Can't help it. But
calling a bull moose in is so much fun. It really is. Yeah, it's so cool. All right, man. Cool story. And then so now it's on to whitetails. This is it, huh? Coming up. When does your season end for whitetail?
It doesn't ever
No,
end.
like the official shooting
Oh,
season. Like
oh, and end of November. Yeah.
end of November.
November
Okay.
31st. Yeah, or whatever. How many? 31 days in November? 30? Yeah. End of November.
So I got to tell the crowd this because so it was 2 days ago. I sent you a text just chatting about what we're going to talk about, and I knew this was going to happen because you're one thing about you, you're super responsive on when I'm texting you and stuff, and I sent you that message and I was like kind of joking. I was like, hey Wacey, can you send me a picture of a nice buck or even a spike if you have it, like a glory picture? And within like 10 seconds, my phone looked like Wacey's Journal of Trophy Hunting because it was just like bing, 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 bing. I got all these monster whitetail pictures on my phone. And Blake wanted one picture to do the graphic on. And I sent him one and he's like, oh, perfect. That was fast. And then I just kept forwarding like 5 or 6 more to him. And he's like, holy shit. I said, yeah, you should just do a tile. But I mean, obviously, I mean, it was super funny. I cracked right up. I was like, yeah, I definitely got his attention on that one, but yeah, it was good stuff. So obviously living where you live, what would you call it? Is it in northern Alberta or are you north central Alberta? Lac La Biche area. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, north central, like I'm like right in the boreal forest pretty much. So
yeah. So that's like,
yeah.
I mean, it's like whitetail central for Alberta, right? You're right in the best spot.
Yeah. I'd like to, yeah, there's big bucks that take a nap everywhere, but I like to think I'm in a pretty good spot. I'm pretty lucky to hunt where I hunt. And, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So obviously, growing up there, you probably started this young. Like when did you start like really thinking whitetail was it? How old were you?
Oh, Jesus. I was probably 12 years old when
Mm-hmm.
13, 14. I remember I had a 308 lever action 308. My dad's a cowboy.
Mm-hmm.
And he used to, my dad would set me and my brother up on a fence line. And like there was guys that hunted, but it wasn't crazy like it is now. And my dad would go into the little blocks of timber, like there'd be like a little swampy patch of timber on a horse, and he would ride into the end of the timber on a horse, and then deer would blast out of there, and they'd jump the fence
Pushing for you.
right in front of. Yeah, and right in front of me and my brother. I mean, that's how we started. We'd shoot bucks like that. My dad would drive deer on a horseback,
Mm-hmm.
and that's how we got started, man. And then yeah, just rifle hunted whitetails, forever since I was a kid. So, yeah.
So on those deer drive situations, and that's one of the methods we use in southern Saskatchewan too, but we don't use horses. We just use big fat cousins and have them walk through the timber with a stick. And that's no joke. Blake can verify that. We got very large fellas out there that are cousins, and they literally just walk through the buck brush and the little draws and start pushing if you don't see deer. But were you guys selective on bucks doing that? Because you could probably do more than one deer drive a season, right? You go out on the weekends after school and stuff, probably.
It usually happened so fast. If it had antlers, we would just shoot it. And then we'd get lucky sometimes, right? And shoot a big one or small ones or whatever, right? Yeah. There was no trail cams. We didn't really know what was out there, right? So
that's a cool story. I mean, I think that, that's how I grew up hunting whitetail was you weren't targeting a buck, right? Like I lived right in sort of the middle of Saskatchewan, and we weren't into, like, I grew up about 30 miles from where Milo Hansen killed his world record whitetail, the big Milo buck. You talk about, you see these guys on TV like Cody Robbins. He's from the same town that I grew up in, and that's not really whitetail country. It's sort of right in the middle. Just north of that's whitetail. Just south south was primarily mule deer, and then you have whitetail scattered all over. But we did the same thing. We were just opportunists when it came to a big buck, and if you saw something decent, you just they're running shots or you're pushing them to the next bush, and then you got to go and try and make a play on them. But when did you get off of that program and start like laying out cams and waiting for whitetail and hunting them differently? When did that start?
Man, so right when trail cameras came out, it was an actual camera inside of a box, like a film camera. And I had one of those. I had one camera, and I used to put those out, and that's kind of where I started just trying to develop my game. And there wasn't nothing, right? There was no internet, and nothing to really to learn off of. So I was just kind of swinging for the fences, right? And just started trying to figure them suckers out, or and doing all that. So that's kind of how that's when that trying to kill certain deer kind of started.
Yeah.
So
did you so how old were you when you got like your first target buck and you were like, I'm going to hunt this deer and I'm going to use my one camera and focus on them? Like, how old were you?
I would have been probably with a bow. With a bow, I would have been in my early 20s probably when I shot my first, like, I thought it was giant. It was like it was like 130-inch 4x4. So, but I'd remembered that's when it started clicking for me, when I was like, I learned how to hunt scrapes and really target deer on scrapes and with a bow, and just started. I kind of just, it all started really clicking right there. So it was at that time.
So literally learned ground up, right? Pardon the pun. Like you're figuring it out. This deer's coming by here. He's scraping. This is where I'm going to focus.
I used to. Yeah. So like I would even, not so much anymore. I've really dialed my game in since I've gotten older. But when I was younger, like I would move the same tree stand for the same deer 40 plus times. Like take it down, move to another tree. Like I was always like moving my sets, trying to get dialed in, right? Because there's always just one tree. I was always just trying to find one tree that was the tree, because I never ever. What I learned when I started going real hard with bows after whitetails is you never really hunted the deer, you hunted the land, because the land always dictated where the deer moved. So that's when I started like really, really pushing hard on whitetails about that time. Yeah.
Interesting. So one thing to note in Alberta, I think I'm correct on this. There's no baiting, right? You guys haven't been able to bait deer out there for a long time, if at all, right?
No. Yeah. No baiting. And I actually take pride in hunting that way. I know the baiting happens in Alberta, like it does.
Oh, sure.
Guys do it. I know they fucking do it.
Yeah.
But I take pride in knocking some big deer down. No bait. That's just me, though. Like that's how I like to do it. But yes, it's illegal.
Yeah, no, for sure. And that includes salt too, right? Like salt, any kind of bait, right?
Yes. Yeah. So it's kind of funny. Like you can, if you want to put salt out for cameras and stuff, you can. But you just can't. You can't hunt over that, right? Like you can't have a tree stand within whatever distance of salt or whatever, right? So.
Right on. Cool. Well, let's fast forward to today. So you basically answered one of the questions when I said, when is whitetail season over? And you said never. So walk me through like a typical calendar year of Wacey hunting whitetails. Like, what does it look like today? Go kind of cradle to grave with it, because everybody's dying to know. I think your situation is a unique one, especially, with, the limited time and stuff that you have. And just tell us about that.
Yeah, so my whitetail hunting's changed since I got my kids and all that. So it's limited, but I'm able to make better moves now and make my time more efficient in that regard. So it's almost easier. If I would have known like now 20 years ago, man, I'd have freaking been knocking some real big ones down. But
sure,
it takes time to learn that stuff. But So for, a typical year, so like it, so one of the things too is I do a lot of predator management, and that is the main reason to see fawn. I want to see fawns do good, right? So we have, that's coyotes is the big one, right? So that's kind of like, when you say, like, when I say year round never ends, so like I'm not necessarily doing deer stuff in December, January, February, but I am doing deer stuff. I'm killing coyotes, wolves. Yeah, I got there's houndsmen I talk to all the time for lions, so I'm always cutting line tracks and dropping pins for houndsmen to run lions and stuff. And I go on a few cat hunts and stuff, but anything I can do predator wise that's huge, man. And it shows, like, in the areas I hunt, I got awesome deer numbers, and that's why we kill predators. Like we haven't took our foot off the gas.
It's everybody, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody's on the same system. My dad, everybody does this. Everybody puts in the work. So that's a big one. And just, it's not, so kind of how it works is, like, a lot of the farms I hunt, like, I've been hunting them for so long. And like I said, I don't hunt deer, I hunt land. I can run. I used to, like, 10, 15 years ago, I put out freaking 30 cameras to find deer. Now I put out 2, because it's the same. They use the same spots. Like, I got my pinch points. Yeah. And I'll just run a couple cameras. It gives me a head count, what's in the area that year. And that's kind of how I do it. Right. Like and it's less invasive. Like, so I actually got a couple cell cams now. I said I'd never do that, but they're so nice. Because you can stay out of an area, because that's a big thing when you start tromping around where deer are, especially where deer are bedding and stuff. Trying to run cameras, you're gonna wreck everything. So I like to stay out, and I'll run even my cell cam. So if I got to go in and do something with the camera, it's still out of the area, right? So I'll use transition areas and stuff. That's where I kind of do so. And if I'm trying to narrow down stuff, like, I do hunt quite a bit of crown land. Like, I'm chasing like, there's some gigantic deer in Alberta on crown land or public ground, like gigantic. And I'm chasing some really good ones right now in some remote country. And so in that instance, I deploy a lot of cameras to kind of help me find and figure out spots, right?
A bit, yeah.
Yeah, I'll throw out a lot of cameras, and so I try to narrow stuff down like that. With that.
So, question for you, Wacey. Then, you mentioned a couple things. So, if someone's looking for, the right place, you mentioned pinch points. What are some key indicators for you that would be like, this is a good spot? Like, if you're just walking around and you see whatever, can you kind of dig that out a little bit?
Yeah. So, like, say you're hunting farm country or something, the top wire being down on a fence, they're gonna cross it. Deer are lazy. They're just like us. Like, if you walk through the bush, where you walk, right? That's the same thing they do, right? Like, they're not gonna go out of their way or up hills if they can, and stuff like that's what I look for, right? So, and same with pinch points. So pinch points are huge for me, and a pinch point doesn't have to be crazy. Like, one of my best pinch point spot, all it is there's it was like a stream there at one time, and a farmer dug in a culvert, and so he could go across it on a quad. And I mean, there's timber on either side. They could walk the timber, but they love going across that high ground dry spot.
Yeah.
And they funnel through there day and night. So stuff like that is what I really look for. Things like, it depends on what you are, where you are, but, like, edges of beaver dams, across beaver dams. If they got to get across, they'll walk right on the dam. Shit like that. Anywhere and next them down and force it. Yeah.
And what about feeding areas and stuff like that, and bedding? Is that something you pay attention to? Because I guess that's tougher because it's everywhere, right, in Alberta.
Yes. So with the country, like the farmland I hunt, you got to pay attention to the crops. That's basically what it is. So guys got wheat in, and they're going to be in there till the wheat is harvested, or alfalfa, and alfalfa is going to be a big puller, especially second or third growth.
Sure.
Until a real cold frost and snow comes in and kills it. And once it kills it, then they're going to move to another food source, and they will. And so that's a big thing if you're hunting farmland and you're hunting in between transition areas and stuff, and you want to target them down. You're like, oh man, my buck I was chasing's gone. A lot of the times, not so much right now in the rut, but like in the earlier season, crop harvest and stuff will move them off. Like they'll just totally switch on you. So shit like that, you gotta watch. But
yeah, it's interesting. So how do you navigate the scrape lines and stuff then? Like I'm presuming, like you said, you got all these cameras out. How many tree stands are you running now?
So I have so what I do, it's taken me a long time to develop these spots, but so I have permanent stands. They never come down, and they're usually they're big stands, comfy stands. And then I'll have one or two floater stands, and they're light, compact with sticks. And so when I'm trying to narrow in on a deer's kind of maybe doing something, or it's in maybe a little bit newer of a spot, I'll run them floater stands and bounce around a little bit here and there. But I got probably 4 or 5 just permanent stands that never move.
Nice.
Like I said, there's one tree. There's always just one tree that'll be the right tree for the right wind, and you're going to be in the right spot with pinch points or whatever. So if you can find that tree, it's pretty valuable if you can find that spot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. So then back to the scrape line then. So I'm just curious now, the strategy's changing a little bit as we get into the rut and it starts to heat up. So like just walk me through a little bit of like, what are you doing this week and next week? Like how does the strategy roll out?
So then I have some tower blinds set up for the rut, and I just hunt transition areas basically. I've totally abandoned, almost totally, not quite, but abandoned scrapes. Scrape hunting is dynamite. That last week of October, that first week of November, I killed a lot of bucks with bow over scrape because they're hitting them hard and they're hitting them in daylight. But when they're rutting and the seeking right now is what they're doing. Actually, I've been at work. I love to sit, like November 11th has always been the day for me. That's when you get a lot of the zombies, right? And they start just really seeking, and it takes them no time, and they're usually locked up. So tomorrow's actually the first day I'm going to be able to go out. Because I've been at work this last week, so I'm hoping to see some good movement. But yeah, so right now, does, man, if you got to find some does and hunt them, because that's where the bucks will be right now. So scrapes is the good that last week of October, first week of November, and then you'll get some younger bucks kind of moving and cruising. But that November 11th, man, Remembrance Day. Every year I try to put that's the time I've always had good luck with. So right now.
Okay, so back to the scrape hunting. So if you were hunting scrapes in your area in end of October, are you just picking a stand that has a scrape right on it and you're just sitting there, get in there in the dark and sit all day, or what's your plan there?
Okay, so how it works, a lot of the times, what I look for is scrapes near bedding areas, especially doe bedding areas, and there'll be big scrapes, and they'll be on the predominant downwind side of doe bedding areas. So if you got a hillside and does are bedding here, he's going to be scraping right in here. So he just runs, he'll run that ridge downwind of them doe groups. Doe groups, from what I've seen, can consist anywhere from 3 to 6 or 7 or even 8 sometimes. They're doe families, and they'll bed. If you got a hillside, you'll have doe families bedding different spots, but kind of all in the same area.
close to each
and
other.
he'll run those. Yeah, so them are the money scrapes for me. And now one thing that I've kind of done over the years is I would always, I'd try to get scrapes like that and hunt those, but they were never always in the right spot, or I could never always get the right wind for it a lot of the times. So I started making scrape hangers, and I started transplanting branches into areas and developing my own scrapes for me. So
Mock scrapes. Okay.
So I said to hell with their scrapes, and I started making bigger and better scrapes, and I put it in a spot that worked for me, but still give them everything they wanted. So I still give them the downwind side of bedding areas, but it was near a tree that I could hunt with a good wind, kind of thing. So
gotcha.
So
then you take one of your so you take one of your mobile blinds, like a hanging blind.
Mobile, yeah, just I had a floater stand with sticks, and then I would hunt that. Yeah,
nice.
Betcha.
Has that paid off for you over the years? Have you killed bucks that way?
Yeah, I sure have. It's it works good. You gotta, and a lot of people, transplant scents. I've worked with scents a lot. One of the best things I found is I'll kick the ground open with my boots, and I'll just piss in it myself.
Really?
And I've had good luck with that. I've killed some deer off of those. But you can buy stuff. I killed a 180-inch whitetail one time, and he was full of piss, and I took his whatever piss sack, and I filled a water bottle with it, and I used that. I just kept freezing it every year, and I'd use that for years, a couple drops, just to get some kind of scrapes going a little bit, stuff like that. But generally, you can, a lot of times, honest to God, you can just kick them open, just that fresh earth smell. It'll hit it, and if you got the right branch at the right height, so I'd make adjustable branch hangers, like I could put them to trees and stuff, and I'd get the right height, and they'll just hit it. And the thing you got to understand about scrapes, and everybody thinks, oh, bucks hit scrapes, right? Well, scrapes are active all year round, and everybody uses them, right? It's a calling card. So he comes up and scrapes, and he's like, oh, there's been 3 does here. Well, none of them are in heat. I'm gonna go check this next scrape. So it's how they talk to each other, right? So right, you want to, so position and placement. And so if you had a area with you had whitetails that you knew on camera that are traveling through, you wouldn't want to put your scrape right in the middle of the trail. You just want it off to the side a bit. Okay. So they're walking by, and they'll address the scrape and then carry on. That's what you want. So,
got it.
Yeah.
It's interesting. So then at what point in the season, if at all, are you rattling? Do you rattle? Oh, there's Blake just asked the question. There you go.
Yeah. So with scrapes, I generally won't rattle near a scrape or call. I'm there just to hunt scrapes, and usually if I'm hunting a scrape, he's there. He's using it. And so I'll rattle. I killed a really nice deer a couple years ago, 3 years ago. I don't remember when, but just off the horns. I've killed quite a few bucks rattling, but that's that sweet spot end October, first week in November. Like rattling will work right now too as well in the rut. But right now with the rut, man, it's kind of a crapshoot. Like you could hit the horns and have 6 2-year-olds come, right? And the big guys are locked up with those, and they don't want to fight. They just want to breed, right? So if you want the best responsive time, I'd say that last week of October is pretty dynamite for rattling. Yeah. You could rattle over a scrape, right? But I generally just prefer to sit scrapes.
Yeah, just another tactic you could try, right? If it's slow or something, you never know.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, beat them together, yeah. The problem with rattling is they'll get you. They're going to get you. They're going to wind you every time, because when they're rattling, they're looking. So you either better be able to shoot your bow or your gun before they scoop you on wind, or you better have a good stand. So like I actually have a stand that I set up just for rattling, and I got a beaver dam on my back. Like it's
so they're not coming,
1,000 yards wide. So I go in there with my west wind, and I know they're not going to scoop me, and it's my rattling stand, and it's near a bedding area. So like I have just a specific, like now you could just set up on a field edge and just beat the horns together. Sure as shit, you could probably get one coming across. Like rattling works, it does work, but you know.
What about grunt tubes? Joel's asking. You grunt too?
Yeah. Yes, they work good. Yeah, I have tried all the grunt tubes. I've ordered grunt tubes off fucking TV infomercials, and I've bought them all. And the best ones I found for the best sound is Mark Drury. I think they're called Mad Calls.
Okay.
I've had really good luck with those. They make one. It's got like a deer skull on top of it. That's actually the snort wheeze chamber. And you can, so it's actually 3-in-1. So you can snort wheeze, you can do young buck and doe bleat and an old buck. So it's got like a push button on the diaphragm. It's a dynamite call.
Sounds cool.
Yeah. I pack that sucker everywhere when I go whitetail hunting. Like right now in the rut, I don't. They're not listening. Like, I shouldn't say that. You could still snort wheeze and stuff, but they're right now they're kind of looking for does, right? So
yeah. So then you're heading out tomorrow, you said? Like, or the rest of the week you're going to try and get out?
Yeah. So it'll be just right now I'm rifle hunting out of the tower blind. And I'm watching cut lines because they're just prowling. Like they're just prowling.
They're cruising. Yeah.
Yeah. Hard miles and all day sits right now for me. So what it looks like.
So what's the first thing that determines which stand you're gonna go to, which blind? Is it wind?
No, it's gonna be just I got a stand set up just for mornings. It's near bedding areas. There's a cut line that runs north south, and I just have a blind there, and I just watch those lines because I know them deer are gonna funnel through going to bed, and when them does funnel through, them bucks will follow. So kind of that's my tactic right now. I'm basically just hunting does kind of right now.
Yeah.
So, yeah. It's actually my favorite time of year. Actually, when I become an older man and I get to retire, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to sit in that damn blind all day, every day.
The comfy chair up there and the heater and the lunch.
I love
coffee.
It. Yeah. Yeah. Make some coffee.
And just hope that you don't fall asleep and then look up and just see the deer walking off the cut line, right? That's the nightmare of a blind.
It's happened.
Oh, I think it's that anyone that's sat in a blind has had that happen. It's impossible to stay awake all day. Yeah. Plus you got just action everywhere, right? So
yeah.
So are you a patient enough guy to do like 10 hours in a blind, or do you tend to give up on it?
No, I'll sit all day. Yeah, I'll sit all day. I'll sit sun up to sundown. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I just love it. I just love it. That's what I like to do. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Matt Petchke's asking, any thoughts on hunting during heavy snowfall? In the West Coots, we have had heavy snow up top and rain in the valley past few days. Looks like the snow levels drop into the valley this weekend. So it's pushing snow down.
I don't know, like, will them deer start moving down? Is he saying they're in the mountains or what? Like,
yeah, I think he's talking about during heavy snow, and I guess maybe Matt, you could elaborate if there's
I'd be out there, man. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, if you got weather fronts like that moving through, they'll be on their feet moving, especially in the rut. They're going to be traveling. So, yeah.
What about 100%. Wind in the rut? Do they spook up and tighten up in the bush on windy days?
Fuck, it's hit or miss. I just generally in the rut, they're moving, man. Like, I love to, generally in Alberta, it's minus 30 or 25 or whatever. And it'll just be hammering snow. And then they'll come just cruising by, and they just got big balls of freaking ice just hanging off their face. And it's just blowing wind sideways. They don't give a shit. They're moving. And so it doesn't really bother them as much as you would think. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, you think we covered it. He was just wondering if they get pushed and if they'd be moving or if they'd be hiding. Yeah, you know what? You talk about the weather out there, and we always traditionally look for that cold weather to get the whitetail fired up and moving. And, the colder days always seem to produce deer, at least in Saskatchewan. We found the same thing. So, yeah.
Yeah.
The
It
shittier, the
just
better.
pushes. Yeah, it pushes those does to feed early, right? So they're hungry because it's cold, so they got to get up and move in daylight. And usually, if they're moving, then bucks will be right behind them this time of year anyway.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we always pray for the cold. That's why I like plus 18, man, in the rut. It's not cutting it here.
No.
It's not
Yeah.
cutting it.
It sucks. So,
Yeah.
I guess this is self-explanatory, but you got your camera set out and you're getting close to the rut. This is when you start to, like you said, you take an inventory on the areas that you've got. Isn't that the beauty of cams today, right? Like you can, you've got a pretty good idea what's in the area and what's not happening, right?
So kind of how it works is like, if I'm running a few cams and in different spots, I'll get some deer on camera. Like for example, I have 2 deer that are great deer, and I get them on camera every summer. They summer on this farm I hunt, but then they bail out as soon as the velvet sheds. As soon as that velvet comes off, they kind of flip a switch. And like, not to say is that I won't see them, but generally they just so. Yes, you can take inventory, but it doesn't really mean much. You can kind of tell as time goes who's going to be your homebodies that year. And you can tell they'll be on your cams and they'll be around. You'll get a lot of pictures of them. That's your homebody guy, and he's probably going to be an older deer. And they generally will push some of this, deer that are kind of the same caliber. They'll push off, but you'll get an idea. Yeah.
It's interesting. We've had Mike Bridger on, excuse me, a couple times, and he's a hardcore whitetail hunter, on the BC side, up in the Peace Country, and he has a lot of cameras out, and he's got a really good dial in on the deer that are frequenting an area. And I mean, he watches them for, it's not months, it's years, right? He watches these things grow up.
Oh yeah.
And, he's got his target buck. So I'm sure there's lots of stories, right? Like if you had, I mean, what's the longest that you've had a buck in mind? Like how many years have you like been after one buck and got him or not got him?
So I had so I don't know how to start. So this year, I have a deer that I've been, like watching, or he's been around. He's 180 inches this year. And I'm going to walk him if I see him. Because I think he's going to crack 200 next year. So, that's a tough thing.
You're going to let him walk. Wow.
Yeah. I've already made my mind up, because he's a 180 as a 4-year-old right now.
Really?
So he's not going to peak for 2 more years at least. So I think he's going to crack 200 if he can make it. So in my area, some of the farms I hunt, all the farms together I hunt, there'll be, I'll have 10 to 12 3-year-olds on camera. Usually 2 to 3 will make it through after November. They all get killed. 3-year-old is the most common deer that's killed.
Sure.
They're big enough antlers. They're 130s to 150s, some 3-year-olds. And they just get killed. Guys see a 140, 150 trot, and they're gonna shoot it. So it's really hard. It's really hard for me to get deer from 3 to 4. But it seems like once I can get them 4 to 5, they'll hang around and they can survive. So that's always my goal, is I want to try to keep as many deer around as I can, like that are in that age class.
So yeah, I would think they're surviving for a few reasons. One being smarts and maturity, right? If they make it past that, getting shot out of, in a farmer's field by a road at 3.
Yep.
They're not going near that road. If they've been shot at 3, they're going to stay in the timber or away from the road, right? Like for 4 years and 5. You get the odd one that's going to make the mistake and get dusted, right? But
I had a deer one time that was 3, and he had 4 drop tines. He had 2 on the front and 2 on the back, and he was a 3-year-old, and he was probably total bone was 160-inch 3-year-old, and he got. I was like, oh God, I was just praying. I'm like, come on, just make it one more year, buddy. And yeah, no, not
someone
likely.
got him.
He got, yep, yeah.
Yeah, shit. So this big one that you've got that you know of, I'm presuming it's a farm that you're hunting, and probably not a lot of guys have access to it, right? I would hope. Or you're taking a big chance
Yeah.
if they do.
Yeah, no guys have access to it, but the farms around it they get lit up. It's so whatever he decides to do, if it's I never that Josh Bomar always said, I don't know, I'm a real big fan of him, but he's got a saying. He goes, always bet on the deer. So it's kind of what I do. I've always bet on the deer. If I kill him, he's never gonna grow. So I try to just bet on him. If he makes it, he makes it. I guess if he don't, he don't, right? If somebody sees him, he's a 180-inch deer. He's going to get killed 100%. So,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
So, we'll see if he makes it.
Man, that's a massive whitetail. If he's going to, if he's 180 now, oh my God, I can't imagine. That's insane.
I got some velvet. I have velvet footage of him this year. I should text you. I try to stay out of areas, but this one spot I knew I could slip into and get video of him feeding. I knew where he was at. So I took my e-bike and I slipped into this spot with my spotting scope, and I got some film of him in velvet. So
nice.
It's pretty neat to see. He had a month of growing left at that time, and he was probably 170 inches.
Jesus. And they're so impressive with velvet too, when they're right at the peak, right before they lose it. Like, it doesn't matter what if it's whitetail or mule deer, when you see them in velvet, it's so cool. Have you shot in velvet whitetail?
Yeah, I shot a couple. Shot one. I don't know. Jesus, that was 15 or 18 years ago. I shot one with a bow. Yeah, it was after a big rainstorm had come through, and I stuck it I was in a stand, and I just got hammered with rain, and I had just a thin coat, and I remember I was so cold, and I knew if I could stick it out, them deer would be moving after that rain, and sure shit, here they come. It was a bachelor group of bucks, and yeah, he was the biggest. He had velvet, and I shot him at like 8 yards or something. Yeah, it was
nice. Yeah, that's awesome. So Blake's been filling in we run a document between each other, and we're like a Google Doc, and he's on a mission this year. I really respect this, as a young guy. He likes to make a plan. So his goal was to try to shoot one from every species in BC, like a black-tailed buck, a mule deer buck, and a white-tailed buck. And I don't know, I'm sure guys do it, but we haven't heard of anybody, or not even talked to anybody about it. So he's got the mule deer buck and the blacktail, and he's not too concerned about size, but he's been just starting to sniff around whitetail, and he's got some whitetail spots. And I was talking to him last night. He was over, and he's trying to find a way to sneak out, get his trifecta done. But he's been pounding questions at me for you, so I should have just had him on tonight. But he's asking about whitetail calling. Like, if you're calling whitetail from your stand with the grunt tube and stuff, what's a typical sequence? Like, how do you manage that? What do you do?
So yeah, this is pretty common. So I seen a guy, I follow that Alberta Whitetail Addicts. There's always guys on there talking about this. So depends where you are. Generally, you're going to be hanging in a tree somewhere. So you don't want to start, you don't want to just start beating the horns together. You're gonna get busted 10 out of 10 times, especially if there's deer close. So when I start, I'll just do I'll actually do a few doe bleeds this time of year. I'll just do a few doe bleeds, something just real minor, and I'll just put it away, because a lot of times they'll come to a doe bleed. They'll come slipping in. And if you don't get no reaction out of that, 10 minutes, then I'll do a little buck grunts and some doe bleeds. And then I'll wait 10, 15 minutes. And if I don't get any reaction out of that, I'll give the antlers just a light little brush, just some sparring, and I hang them up. You want to hang them up right away. You don't want to sit there with horns in your hand, because if they bust you and you got horns in your hand, you're fucked. You can't do anything. They're staring at you.
Shit. Yeah.
So
Makes sense.
And then if that nothing's in, then I get on the horns real hard, and I rattle like a banshee, and then hang them up, and then just get ready, because when you usually beat them hard, they're gonna come, because that really travels that sound. And then I give that 15-20 minutes at least, right? So if you're calling in a tight area, you want to just start quiet and work your way up, just in case anything's close. But yeah, I'll do sequences. You play it out, right? Like I just play it out like a doe bleed with, that there's a buck there, and you can do tending grunts, which is like a bunch of short grunts together. Like he's attending the doe. You can make a whole sequence up. Nothing major, So.
Lots of good resources out there to do that. I'm sure YouTube's loaded with stuff too. So
yeah.
Oh yeah. What are you looking for in a bedding area? Like, what are the key things in finding a good bedding area? Just following tracks and looking for north, like certain facing slopes on little hills and stuff, or what?
So what I found more than anything, everybody talks about south facing, blah 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 blah. What I found, I've actually watched doe groups do this, is they like to bed with preferred wind more than anything. So if one of the bedding areas that I kind of hunt, they'll all bed on this kind of slope, but they'll only bed there when the wind's coming in like this, right? So they're on that slope, so they must bed looking up or bed, I don't know, looking down. But it just seems like they prefer areas with wind, and if they don't got that west wind that day, then they're in another spot. Usually it's a little thicker, so. Oh, it depends, man. You gotta, to find a bedding area, it's not that hard. You can, run cameras or find tracks or whatever, right? But generally, bedding areas have a couple things. They got good escape terrain or good escape cover, and if a deer uses it, you'll see. And the best time, actually, it's not right now. None of what really we're talking about for like scouting and any of this shit this is not the time. The time is when it's too fucking late. This is it. We're hunting hard now. You got to be in the springtime. You got to be hiking, looking for horns, see where they're kind of wintered, see where there is clusters of doe beds together, pin it on a map, see if you can put it all together. That's the times. It takes years to develop areas and find areas and stuff like that. So yeah, that's the time. Right now, it's tough.
Yeah, work backwards from the shed. Somebody gave me that advice a long time ago too. It's like, shed hunting is a great time to figure out where deer go and what they're up to, right? So it's also a good way to do it. So how important is scent control for you when you're like, especially going into a stand and stuff? Do you spray shit on your boots and stuff, or what's your play there?
No. So I got brainwashed pretty hard back in the era of scent lock technology and sprays and fucking all that, right? Like I was really running and gunning hard, and at that time, and when all that was coming out, and the only thing I do anymore, I still do, like I'll wash my clothes once a year and some scent killer, but it's not necessary. The problem with it is you're going to get winded and you're going to get busted. It doesn't matter what you got on your fucking clothes. You're not gonna beat a whitetail's nose. A whitetail's nose is like, I don't know, 10 or 15 times of a bloodhound or something like that. So you're not gonna beat them. So kind of what I do is I have one set of boots, or rubber boots, and make sure they're comfy. They sit in a Tupperware container or a tote, and I have fresh earth and spruce boughs in the bottom of that, and then boots never see anything but that or fresh ground. So I take them out of the box in my truck, put them boots on, and I walk into where I'm going to hunt stands, because they will cut nothing ruins a hunt more than some long-nosed freezer queen that's cutting your tracks. She's gonna cut your tracks every time. If you walk in with normal boots, man, they'll cut your. I've had does cut my tracks like 6-8 hours later of where I watched them do it. So you gotta have a good set of boots. And just wear your camo. And the thing too, so yes, play the wind, right? Obviously, if you don't want to hunt with the wind blowing into a bedding area, or you don't want to hunt whatever, but kind of I've gotten to a point now where I still play the wind, but kind of not really. So I really hunt thermals hard, and if I got like a real quiet wind that day, and I go in the morning and I know it's going to be the sun's going to rise, and it's a bad wind, say the wind's blowing the way that the deer are coming, I'll still sit it. My thermals will, if you're in your stand, my thermals will come up faster than they'll get to the deer if I have a light breeze or hardly no wind. So I'll hunt thermals almost as much as I hunt wind these days. So,
right.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming you're never really still hunting or trying to stalk in on a whitetail if you see one. It's just not gonna. It's probably not possible, right? Not very often.
It is. I've killed 3 or 4 whitetails on the ground with a bow stalking.
Yeah.
But
I guess this time of year,
it.
maybe, right? When they're, like you said, zombie
Yeah.
mode, you got more of a chance of fooling them, right?
Yeah, but yeah, I don't. It's kind of that's an earlier season thing. You can do it right now too, I guess. But if them big bucks are hard to beat, man, they're hard to beat. They're so keyed up. They're really hard to trick. So, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, all this stuff is just years of doing it too, right? You figure out what works and what doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's tough. I mean, we had Jordan on last week talking about mule deer hunting in BC, and there's so many different variables in BC on terrain and what the deer do. Like you got migration deer, and you've got mountain deer, and you got open plains and all kinds of stuff. But with whitetail, you got to just, if you've got the time, you've got to hunt them all year long. If you're gonna consistently kill big deer, right? Like that's what.
Yeah.
Same as like we talk about Mike Bridger, same thing. He's putting salt out because he can out here, and he's doing it. I don't know. I can't remember how many bags or pounds of salt, but I think in his area, it was like 4,000 pounds of salt he packed into spots throughout the year, and in multiple stands, multiple cameras all over the place. And it's an all year round game, right? So, what would you say? Go ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Chuck. Keep going.
Well, I was just going to say, what is there anything that you would say is most commonly overlooked by, like, I don't want to call it the casual whitetail hunter, but the average whitetail hunter? Is there something they're doing that's like the most common mistake you see, and you kind of shake your head and go, what's wrong with these people? Like, is there anything that comes to mind?
Not, I don't know. I think a lot of the guys I see, it's, they don't really give spots like much time. Like the guys that are just running and gunning, it's hard, right? Like that's a overlook. I had a whitetail one time that was probably 170 inches that lived in a patch of timber this freaking size of my yard. And people would just drive by that every day. Guys road hunting by that, and then right at dark, that guy would slip out to feed. I watched him do it so many times. It's stuff like that, right? Like you gotta be patient with deer. And new hunters, probably the biggest thing is going into areas. You gotta stay the fuck out of whitetail areas. Don't go in where they bed. Don't go near where they bed. You can. If you got to run, you got to figure out how to run. If you're running cameras, you got to figure out how to run them non-intrusive. Because if you start bumping them big deer, they're gone, and they're not coming back for a long time. Like you cannot, especially, maybe in the rut you bump one, he buggers off and he just circles back. Who knows? But early season to mid season, you bump them deer, it's over. You're starting from square one. You got to figure out a way to stay non-intrusive. Cell cams is great. And like I said, I run, what I do run is on outsides of everything, pinch points. I don't go into areas. Like I give it to them. Like, this is your bedding area.
You got it. Yeah.
That's yours. I'm not going in there. That's their sanctuary. You got to give them something. Guys, when I was young, I actually made the mistake. I was in my early 20s, and I was trying to zero in on a gigantic deer who who I hunted for 6 consecutive years and made me look fucking stupid every year. I never did kill him. But I would move I don't know, I would move cameras and go deeper and deeper and deeper to where I thought he was coming from, trying to narrow him down. Well, I ended up
Pushed him
wrecking
out
the
of
whole
there.
area.
Yeah.
You can't, you got to give them space, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you just got to do, if you want to go into an area, it's like I said, springtime. You got to go in and find them. Then you bump them out of there.
Learn
If they're
it
better,
then.
then who cares, right?
Yeah, they'll forget about you.
Yeah.
How many square miles do you think they travel? Like a big mature buck? I guess it depends on what's happening in the area, but in general, what would be the extreme that you'd see a buck? Like, say you got cameras 20 miles apart. Are they traveling that far? Like, have you ever had that where it's like, holy shit, he's way over here? Or no?
No. Actually, the older they get, the tighter they get. They
Stick
get
closer.
8, 10 years old. 8, 10 years old. They're living that deer I'm talking about that was living in that tiny patch of timber.
Yeah.
He was probably 10, 11 years old. He wasn't breeding anymore, and he was just living tight. But it's like anything. Some sheep will just go on a walkabout.
Yeah, exactly. You never know. Yeah, it
go
goes.
over two mountain ranges. Yeah, but as a rule, where I found sheds off a particular deer and where he summered was 2 miles.
Yeah,
So,
close. Okay.
they're running a square. They're running a 2 mile, I would say, block as a general rule. And in that kind of country, anyway, mountain country might be totally different. They might be less.
Yeah.
Even so.
Now your country, I haven't been up there. I've never been right where you live, but is it big timber patches primarily, or do you have like fields and open stuff? Mostly timber. Yeah.
Yeah, there's farmers fields, but we're in the country where farmers fields meet big timber, right? So
yeah,
okay, it's a guess sometimes where they're gonna go.
Yeah, no doubt.
Cougar gets
all right. Let's get some stories, because I know you got a gazillion. You talked about one that you hunted that you never got. What's your buck that got away story that keeps you up at night?
I don't know if he keeps me up at night, but that deer, in particular, it's when I was learning to really go hard for big whitetails, and he would just beat me. I'd try to make a move on him, and he'd beat me. It's like he knew I was there. I could just never. I hunted him for, like I said, 6, maybe even 7 years. He died as an 11-year-old, I think. I actually have his sheds, 2 years of his sheds here. And he would just beat me. I actually only had one encounter with him. I was, like I said, I was on top of a ridge, downwind of a big doe bedding area. I knew there was like 3 or 4 family groups of does in there. And I was just downwind, no scrapes or nothing, and I wasn't off any trails. And I wanted to push the envelope with him. I knew he was skirting these does, and I was beating the horns, and he came out. And that was back in my compound bow hunting days, and he come out and started just goring a tree. He was about 80 yards from me and making a scrape, and he walked off, and that was it. He died probably a month later. I think wolves got him. I ended up actually finding his skull.
No way.
Yeah. So, but I learned a lot from hunting that deer. I actually owe that deer a lot, because he kind of taught me how to properly pursue whitetails, what mistakes I was making, and it was good. Yeah, that was a fun one to chase for sure.
He took Wacey to school.
He schooled me. He schooled me for a lot of years, man. Frustrating.
Wow, that's awesome. So, what's your favorite whitetail story? Like your favorite, the one that comes to mind when someone says, what drives you to whitetail hunting? It's got to be one.
Yeah. So that I did kill a deer. He was. I don't name my deer, but I called this deer Big Country because he was in such freaking remote big timber. And there was this old like fire line and I can't remember what I was doing up in there, probably moose hunting or something at the time. And I'd seen this deer track the year before. So that's another thing too. If you learn to read deer tracks, you can tell, right? He had a 4-finger track, and so I seen this track the year before. So I went up back in there in velvet. He was in velvet, and I was running cameras, and I remember getting the first pictures of him, and he was giant. I was like, holy shit, there's a giant living up in these timber, and he wasn't traveling real far. So I'm like, from what I figured, he was kind of going, and I thought, well, I'll wait till he sheds his velvet, and I'll scrape hunt him, right? Because in velvet, I was kind of spotty. I would get a picture of him, then I get a picture of a pack of wolves, and then like literally, I'd had one picture, I had 4 mountain lions in the same picture.
No,
and then 2 days later, he'd come by again. I'm like, oh, he's still alive,
still making it.
So I waited till I was looking at the weather, and it was the last day of October, and it was windy, real windy, and I'm like, I'm gonna go kill him. And so I grabbed one of my floater stands, and I went right to the edge of where I figured he was bedding, and I hadn't gone in there. My cameras were on the outside of everything. I went to where I figured he was bedding. I found a scrape the size of a freaking car hood, right in this, like where these 2 little lines intersected. There was a scrape. It was just gigantic. And all that was there was this freaking spruce tree on the right side of the wind, and it was just a little spruce tree. And I'm a big dude. I'm like, I got to get up this tree. So I get up it. I get up it at like 5 o'clock or 4 o'clock, and it's like a 40-minute quad ride for me to get back into this country. It's a long ways out, and I get up in this tree, and the wind was dying off in the evening, and 6 o'clock came. And I just hit him with 2 growls, like real, like throaty growls, because he's a big buck. He doesn't want anybody in this area, right? So I just bark. I just give him a couple barks. I put the call away, man, and I look up like 5 minutes later, and he's coming. His fucking ears are pinned back, and he's coming. He's just rubbing trees the whole way in. His ears back, and he snort wheezed a couple times, and I'm like, oh, it's on, right? Yeah, so he comes in and he starts blowing the scrape's right below me. Like I set up almost directly above it. So he comes in and he's blowing that scrape out. And that's like 6 yards, and I just put it on him, right, and shot him. He ran off. He went 20 yards to Paul. That was a fun hunt. Like 2 hours in the stand. Took the stand down, grabbed that deer, loaded him on the quad, headed out, and one done.
That's awesome.
Would be nice.
yeah, that doesn't always work that way, right? Oh man.
Yeah,
that is cool. So what's the oldest buck? If you, I guess, do you age them like you got a way to age them, or are you kind of guesstimating?
I'm really good at aging. I'm really good at aging teeth. Like I don't send it away, but I can get within a year or so. And I've killed a deer a couple years ago. I think he was 9 or 10, probably. He was old and heavy, and his teeth wore right down. But I was talking to a buddy of mine. He's killed 2 or 3 deer over 200 inches. He's actually got the world's largest 4-point ever shot in velvet. He shot with his bow. And I was talking to him. I'm like, what are you after these days? Because we're all, me and him send pictures back and forth steady of gigantic deer. And he says if they're over 5, that's what I hunt. And I've kind of lived by that, unless you get a special deer like that one I just sent you on your phone there.
I saw that.
A deer like that.
Not to stay distracted, but I'll check it out after. But yeah.
But if a deer like that, like I said, I want to try and let him go another year because I think he's got the potential to go all the way. Then I'll wait. But generally, I try to target older, mature deer. That's like my main goal. Like right now, this year, the deer I want to kill, he's a 4x4. I hate 4x4s, but he's probably 8 years old. He's 8 years old, and I'm like perfect. it's a double whammy. I kill an old bully buck, and he's a 4-point, and all the 4 points I can get out of an area, the happier I am. I don't like them. I don't like their
Genetic
genes.
improvement,
I like
right?
5x5.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no doubt.
100%.
So what would you say he would score as a 4?
You know what? He's probably going to score 160 inches as a 4. He's
No
pretty
shit.
gigantic. He's real framey. Yeah, he's real framey. He's
Yeah.
got probably 15-inch G2s and 15, 16-inch G3s. So, yeah, 150 maybe. Yeah, somewhere in there. Like, it's a gigantic for a 4-point. It's pretty gigantic. So,
Yeah.
But the thing with him is he's I've actually kind of hunted him. Last year I didn't really put a bunch of effort in for him. But I've kept my eye out for him, and he's pretty flaky. He's pretty flaky. I'm not. I'm on the edge of his area. So like one of the farms I hunt, it's the edge of kind of where he likes to be. So I'll usually see him right at the end of November when he breaks from whatever does he's been breeding, and he starts looking for remaining last cycle does. I'll get a few pictures of him in like last few years. So I kind of know the time frame when he's going to come through. Not to say that he won't get locked up with something and get drug in, but you never know.
Interesting. You know what I think it's an interesting thing when you talk to like hardcore whitetail guys, because for the most part, when you talk general species of hunting, most people aren't really hung up on score, or people will say, I'm not a score guy. But if you're a hardcore whitetail hunter, you're a score guy, right? Like it is inches on big whitetail, and it is for good reason, because they're they've got potential to be massive. They've got potential to be just crazy, gnarly, non-typical. But what's your wildest non-typical buck look like? Or have you ever kind of targeted one and gone after, like you mentioned, the quadruple drop tine one there?
Yeah, I don't have a whole bunch of non-typical genes in my area, but I actually got a good story. So back in the day, when I was I was just starting to bow hunt, and I might have been in my late teens or whatever, and I was up on this farm. It was kind of a remote place, and I think I might have even been putting out a camera or something back then. And there was a whitetail bedded. He was full velvet, and he had a freaking shit everywhere. Like I'd never seen. I still can see it. Yeah. Oh my God. Like he had drops and flyers, and he had a gigantic frame, right? And I went home and I was telling my dad about it. I'm like, man, there's this deer on this guy's place. I've never seen anything like it. So hunting season came around, and I never really was up in there, but I never did see him. And it was that time, I must have been 16, 17, because I was heading to a party with a girl.
There you go.
I was driving There was a time in my life when some things weren't as important as, white.
Yeah, exactly. Priorities.
I was driving this old, I had a 1985 Chevy, 2-wheel drive, 5-speed, and I was flying, man. And that buck was on the side of the road about,
oh my God,
4 miles from where I'd seen him, and he was behind a muley doe, and he was standing 40 yards from me, and I backed the truck up. And I remember looking at him. I'm like, oh my God, like that's a 230, 240 inch whitetail.
Oh my God.
And, I never did know what happened to him, right? So, but that's the biggest non-typical I've ever seen in my life. I can still see him to this day, man. It's freaking unreal.
Yeah, there's something about him, right? Like northern Saskatchewan timber bucks, they just don't know what they're going to get in a lot of those areas, right? Like you get that crazy non-typical clubs and stickers and just nuts. All right, so let's hear the biggest buck story, and what was the score? What was the story? Your lifetime buck so far.
I wish I could turn this computer here, but I'd probably unplug it. But so it's not even really that exciting of a story. But he was a deer.
Was it one of the ones you sent me the picture of?
Yeah, one that's on the cover there. He scored, I think, just over 180. And he it must have been 2016 or 16. I was shed hunting a farm with a friend of mine, and he's like Ed, right? He's lanky, he's got legs, and he can outwalk me. So I would bring him to farms that I would want to shed hunt. And he just dives in. He comes out with armfuls of sheds, right? It worked great for me. So he would keep what he found, and unless on the premise I killed that deer, then he would give me them horns back.
Cool.
And so he found this deer's horns, and at the time, he was probably a 3 or 4 year old. And I said, "Oh yeah, that's a decent deer, whatever." So he just threw him in the pile. Well, fast forward 2 or 3 years, I'm sitting in my tower blind with my oldest daughter, and he comes out with a doe to 150 yards, flat-footed, and just stands there. And so just shoot him, right? Like it's not a crazy hunt. Just comes out in the field and shoot him, and I'm like, man, I don't know what deer this is. And I got showing my buddy, and he's like, we got the horns off this deer. And so he had traveled quite a ways. So he was probably 3-4 miles kind of deal. So yeah, he's my biggest. I wish it was more of an exciting story with him, but he was a good deer.
And sorry, how old is he? You said
he would probably have been 6, 7, probably 6, more or less 6, probably. Yeah.
Cool.
So that's my best. Yeah.
Have you ever been sitting in one of your blinds and, after a target buck and all of a sudden like a really nice new deer comes rolling in? Because those are cool stories too.
Happens all the time.
Yeah.
What the problem is you're trying to, for me anyway, is I've made mistakes in the past a lot, not a lot, but a few times. And because they're moving, you got to make a decision
quick.
This is where like people like
on a
people
cut
like,
line
oh,
or
I
whatever.
don't. Yeah, people are like, I don't trophy hunt. You got to know inches. If you want to try and kill a mature deer, you got to know what you're looking at. So right away, if I'm on binos, I'm trying to just figure it out. You only got a certain amount of time. So I've made a few mistakes and killed some younger, smaller deer by misjudging or rushing it. So now a lot of the times, if I get new deer that'll come through, unless they're like, when you see a 180 standing, there's no doubt in your mind.
There's a no doubt.
But when you see when you're hunting 160s and 150s and stuff, you're kind of just like, you're looking at them, and if trying to decide, it's tough, right? So a lot of times I'll just let them walk, to be honest. And honest, like probably 7 out of 10 times they'll come back through the same spot 20 minutes, an hour later, this time of year. So it's not a big deal. Don't get panicked sometimes if if you're doing that style of hunting. If they do, we'll leave, and then they're not scared, they're just cruising. You're gonna see them again, and it's gonna give you time to think what you saw. So don't rush things like that.
So it's interesting. I'm doing this hunt in Saskatchewan, southern Saskatchewan, and I've talked about it a little bit on the show and stuff, but this was a hunt I did for 19 years, and it was like just hunting with family, right? So it's my wife's cousins. There's a whole bunch of us we all grew up together. We're all about the same age. We've all got kids. Some have grandkids, and for I think we figured it out. It was 19 years in a row. When I was younger, I would go back to Saskatchewan for that 1 week, and our kids were young. My wife gave me like 1 or 2 weeks max a year, and for us, that whitetail season was about hunting camp, and of course we were killing whitetails. And out of all the years and all the deer that got killed out there, one of our guys killed. I don't know how big Darren's deer is, but for us, like an open country prairie whitetail, I think it was like a 177 or something like that. It's a big deer. I'll try to dig up some photos for you and show you, but I'm heading back this year, and I was so excited when I pulled the tag, and somebody said to me, "Oh, you're going to Saskatchewan, you're going to kill a big one." And I'm like, "I'm just going to kill like a legal one because I got 4 days. We don't have tree stands and cameras, and it's spot and stock, but I'm jealous, dude, living where you are to be able to obsess like that over the course of a year and focus and really target bucks and the cameras, because that shit's fun, right? Like you're like I said, you're shed hunting, and it's a year-round thing, right? Well, we got a few questions here. I'm just going to buzz through them quick. Ryan's asking, on a stand hunt area, how far do you stash your quad when you're rolling in? You try to dump it a ways out?
So I'll give you a two-part answer on this. So with this one farm I hunt, I would use the quad to check cameras. And because the farmer was always in there with his quad, and he was moving his cows and doing stuff. And so I was like, I'm going to just stick to the quad. And so I would use the quad. Yeah, they would be used to it. So I'd stick to this quad. I go check cameras and I just leave it idle. And them deer would just come out, 15 minutes later, like it didn't bother them. And so I found this scrape one time, and I pulled the quad up right to the base of this tree I wanted to hunt, and I literally stood on the quad rack and put my sticks up, hung my stand. I was just getting the stand stuff set up, and I looked over, and the deer I wanted to kill was bedded 80 yards from me, looking my way.
Right at you. Yeah.
But the quad was sitting there idling. It didn't bother him. So I just pretended like I was just doing farm work and got down, rode away. Next morning I went in that stand and killed that deer off that scrape. So
no shit.
Don't be so yeah, I killed him at 10 yards. He had his head up licking a branch. And so don't be scared, with your quads. Depends on the area, right? Like if there's not a lot of quad activity and you start hammering through with quads, you're probably going to disrupt things. But as far as stashing it from your stand, depends. You can do 100 yards. That deer story I told you when I killed that big buck that come in rubbing, I think my quad was 50, 80 yards behind me because it was the only like low spot in this timber patch I could find, right? So it depends. Nowadays I ride a freaking e-bike. So I'll lay that right at the base of my tree. Right. So it depends. But don't be scared to leave it close if you can hide it good and they're not going to wind it. But stationary things like quads and pickup trucks, if they're stationary, not moving, generally most of the time they'll just walk right by it.
Yeah. I mean, you got to remember they see it all year most of the time, right? They're seeing vehicles and human stuff around. Chris is asking in regards to scent control, what's your thoughts on pop-up ground blinds? He's just wondering if the smell of the blind would be enough to spook them versus, I guess, a stand, a ladder stand or a tree stand.
The key to that is what he said at the end there. You got to set it up. Like if that's the spot you're going to hunt, I would say a month in advance, I'd get that sucker in and get it brushed in at least.
Yeah.
One thing you could kind of do is just leave that blind somewhere, like kind of out of the elements, but outside, right? Like in an open shed or something, right? But I don't like ground blinds. You can't. I've used to have had a couple, but you can't see, right? You just see what's in front of you. I hate that because I've had bucks coming behind me and shit like that. I don't like ground blinds.
I suppose if they got a place, if like you look at the Saskatchewan guys, the Jim Shockey TV world, right?
Like
you're sitting you're on bait. I guess that's different. You got your lanes all cut and
where they're coming from. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. They have their place, yeah, for sure.
What would you say is some essential whitetail gear? Like what's in your pack in whitetail season? You're going out for the day.
Yeah, well,
calls.
Yeah, lots of snacks. But
lots of snacks. Yeah.
Honestly, yeah, I this time of year I'll bring my horns, my call, just my warm clothes and what I'm hunting with. That's it, man. I run pretty light. I'm not a big gear guy. For deer, I only got a couple things I pack. I build my own horns. I wrap them in paracord, just like paracord handles. Got a bunch of sets of those. So a lot of times, depends. I'll leave a set of paracord antlers and stands I know I'm going to hunt, so I leave them hang there for the season, so I don't pack in horns making noise, right? Because a lot of
Yeah.
times you want to just slip in, right? So that's one thing we never touched on. I don't know how much time we got, but your
No, we got
entry and
time.
exit, your entry
Yeah.
and exit is very important for whitetail hunting. You got to really try to pick your routes, which you're going in. You know, if something as simple as you're walking across the clearing, you know the deer are going to come across that clearing too. You go out of your way to get out of there, like go around to to get in. I'll walk down creeks. I got that one stand I rattle in. I walk across a beaver dam to get to it.
Yep.
Just so I'm not going in the area where they're going to come in. I come in the backside. Because they, your clothes will rub up against brush and stuff. They'll smell that, and they'll just sniff that, and they'll check up right now. So I'm very like meticulous of like, I know kind of where deer are going to come from, and I do not walk there. I try to find a new entry, stuff like that. So that's important. That's
Do you ever use any like cover scent sprays or anything like a estrus spray or any of that stuff? No.
No. One scent that I do use that does work it's called Evercalm.
Okay.
You can buy it in like a deodorant stick. It's like a deer herd smell. So you can put that in the tree with you. And it almost calms them down. It's kind of weird. It does work. I've used it quite a bit, but I try to stay. I used to spray. Yeah, there you go. Evercalm.
There you go.
Blake, it's like Jamie on Joe Rogan. Jamie, look that up.
Yeah,
Blake, look
I love it, man. It's so awesome.
Conquest Sense Evercalm. Yeah, that stuff works. It's expensive, but it actually does work. But I haven't had a whole bunch of luck, man, with doe scents and stuff. Fuck, I piss in scrapes with my own urine, and I get scrapes going like that. You can buy. There's another company out there, Blake, if you want to look it up. It's called Hodag, Hodag, HODAG.
Okay.
So they sell scrape kits. So remember them branch hangers I was talking about? They actually make those now. That's the thing. People make them. They sell another thing that's real popular with guys that don't want to run branch hangers. They'll run hemp rope. Hodag sells hemp rope. There you go.
Hodag Outdoors.
They have some real cool products. They have plant a tree. So you can build little rubbing trees that are on springs, and so they'll rub on them. The trees just bounce around. They also have really good scents as well. I haven't had any of their scents, but I've watched a lot of their stuff. So their stuff seems to really work. But
it's crazy, right? Like the whitetail industry, hunting industry, is kind of like the elk industry in that there's always something new coming up, right? Whether it's the best reed this year for an elk or the best cow call, and now you got this kind of stuff. But it's funny, a lot of stuff out there is gimmicky, but some shit just flat out works, right? Some stuff does.
Yeah, that Hodag or whatever, they have some of the better stuff, the stuff that makes them, like, I've seen all sorts of shit, Chuck. I've seen back in the day, Bone Collector had rub line slime, make your own rub lines, and like all this shit. But these Hodag guys, they do make good products that are useful. I'm cheap, and I was building what they make years ago, right? I build my own portable shit. I built scrape sticks that go onto T-posts, T-posts for snow fence.
Yeah.
And I would set scrapes in the middle of fields.
Really?
And I'd have 10 deer a night come there and use it. So like I was, I can move scrapes anywhere I want and pull deer, right? So scrape is a powerful thing. It's a very underutilized tactic, especially in that time window. A scrape is deadly, a deadly thing to learn to hunt. So now hold on, one more thing too. So you will see right before that time frame, you'll see a bunch of scrapes. You'll be walking, you'll be like, oh, there's a scrape. Oh, and there's a scrape, and oh, there's another scrape up there. All of them are just little aggression scrapes. They're nothing. I would never hang over those because they're usually just a young buck, and he comes in, he blows out one spot, and then he moves on. And generally, them spots won't catch. The spots that'll catch are traffic areas with does, family units. Them are the spots that'll catch and be high traffic and high activity for your scrapes. So bedding areas, transition spots, stuff like that. Them are the scrapes you want to hang on. So you don't want to hang on them little pocket scrapes, some aggression scrapes, but yeah.
So then, yeah. So let's zero in on that. So you're trying to find the right spot. Again, this is going to be hit or miss if you're a weekend warrior in a spot, but if you're working an area, what are the key indicators on the actual scrape itself? Just the size of it, how deep it is, how aggressive it looks, and like around it and stuff. Is that what you're looking for?
Size.
Yeah, big.
Yeah, I like
that's
them.
awesome.
Not to say that you can't kill them on smaller scrapes, but I like big scrapes, and big scrapes usually mean community scrapes. You can tell too, when they hit it, they're pawing this way, right? So you can tell kind of gives you a thing on movement, but when you get scrapes that are like pod this way and pod this way and pod this way and pod this way, and like that's a community scrape, that means that deer are coming in from all sides.
Everywhere. Sure.
Them are the scrapes, and you right in the scrape, there'll be tracks. You got to pay attention to them. You'll know a big buck track when you see it, and them are the ones you really want to stay after. Them kind of scrapes, yeah.
Cool. Are we missing anything? What's the secret weapon for whitetail hunting here? You give us a lot of gold, Wacey.
The secret weapon? I don't know.
Piece of advice, man.
I think if you want to be good whitetail hunter, it takes a lot of time and it takes a lot of work. You gotta spend the time. I seen a guy on Spike Camp here a couple weeks ago, and he was asking. He's like, I want to hunt this area. I want to dive in, and man, like I don't want to say you're too late, but you're almost too late. Like, yes, you can go in there and rattle and might drum up a buck or whatever, but I look at whitetail as a year-round thing. You gotta put the work in, man. Whatever that looks like. You want to haul in BC, you're in the mountains, there's whitetails up there. You want to haul salt up there, get your cameras out, get a head count on what's there, walk around in the spring, find some pinch points, water holes, bring some stands in early, get stuff hung, set, ready. So when whitetail season hits, you're hunting whitetails. The time to kill whitetails is when it's time. The time to scout is scouting time.
Yeah, for sure.
You can't intersect the two, man. It's like you gotta. It's a year-round thing, right? There's no off time for it, right?
Yeah, and I guess Joel just piped up. It was him that asked that question on the platform. But I guess what I would say to him, and correct me if you think this is wrong, but he's starting in an area, he's checking it out now. I mean, why not go in, give it a try? If you call in a little buck, at least you learn something, right? Like you're going to learn something. Yeah. Build on that for next year, right? So.
Yep, 100%. Go check it out, see what's up, see if you can pull something out of there for sure.
Yep.
But to give yourself the best odds of success for a big deer is starts early.
Yep. So Jim is asking another question about the pee in the scrape. He's saying he's wondered if human pee would be a deterrent, but it doesn't sound like it. At least what you're doing. Maybe you piss like a deer, Wacey. Maybe you eat what they eat or something. I don't know.
Yeah. So you got to understand, when you piss, at a certain amount of time, your piss, I can't remember, it turns to ammonia. Like all piss turns kind of like after it leaves your body. Say you drank a coffee and you piss and it smells like coffee. That's only a little while, and then your piss smells like ammonia or whatever. I researched this for years ago and I can't remember now, but it kind of changes. So like it just smells like urine to them, right? Yeah. So it just opens up, but you don't have to do that. I just do that to piss around, basically.
And probably you got to piss anyway. So
yeah. So, but
happened to be that a deer came in.
I had a buddy one time. he had a cut line, and he just walked down that and kicked with his boot, kicked open freaking 10 scrapes like in a row under branches with his rubber boots. I think 4 or 5 of them scrapes caught, like, and buck started using them. Just fresh earth smell. Like, that's all you need.
Crazy.
Yeah. You can buy
Right
deer
on.
droppings to put in them. Fucking urine. Hodog sells urine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's lots of stuff out there.
But you don't need it. You don't need it.
Yeah, right on. I didn't draw the names yet for the 2 winners, did I? For tonight's show. Blake gave them to me here. I just brain cramped. All right. Well, we got a couple minutes left, so I'm just going to pull these 2 names. So these guys were on the show tonight. So it's Ryan Shannon. You're going to get a 5-pack of This Is Coffee. I'm going to send it out. So we'll get you a DM here and get your contact info. And Rick Napier, you're going to get some Spike Camp swag, a hat and a shirt. So same there. So the 4 winners, 2 from last week's show and this week's show, I'll get my shit together and get you some stuff shipped out. But dude, I didn't think we were going to go 2 hours, but we did, man. We're almost there. Like we're right on the money. So
if you got the questions, like I could do 10 hours. If there's something people want to know, I can fire away on whitetails.
Well, you know where to find you. He's on the platform, guys. He's all over Spike Camp. He's going to be sitting in deer stands for the next couple of weeks till he kills that.
You won't find me. I'll see if I can. I don't want to unplug this computer here. I want to see if I can turn it. I'll show you some deer quick. I got to get my house set up a little better.
See if he does it. I think we're getting a little snapshot here of whitetail. Oh yeah. Oh my God. Look at that. Yeah, we can see it, Wacey. Looks awesome, buddy. Oh my God.
I don't mind the Lego there and stuff, but there's I don't know. I kind of quit mounting them, but I got a bunch of Euros there and stuff.
Wow. Did you piss on the floor right in front of that coffee table and all those deer came in? Is that what happened? Yeah. All right, brother. It's been a slice, man. We'll have to get back on a routine after hunting season. I've got
for sure.
I got whitetail in Saskatchewan, and then right after that, I'm going to Spain for a short hunt and a little holiday. So I'm going to do Spanish ibex. So
we gotta
see how that goes.
I want to do Wyoming antelope.
Yeah, we got to talk, man. We got to talk. We got to make some plans. Right?
So I don't know when, but one day.
Oh yeah, well. Yeah, we'll have to pick up that conversation because we started that a few months ago, but that does sound like a riot.
Yeah, you betcha.
All right, man. Well, thanks everybody for tuning in tonight. Wacey, always a pleasure, my friend. We'll stay in touch. I'm looking for the glory pick when you knock that big boy down.
It's looking like it's just going to be that big 4 if I can find him. So
okay. All right. Well, we're in your corner, buddy. All right, man. Thanks.
Okay.
Cheers.
Thanks, guys.
See you later, buddy. Bye.
Yeah.